Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Jujutsu Kaisen. Sign in at the beginning of the game with Bamen Dunjia. Chapter 1. Midnight. Lin Feng woke up in a daze, and found himself in an unfamiliar environment. I am in a Japanese-style room, with sliding wooden doors, low tables, mats on the floor, etc. There are not many furniture in the room, and it is very clean. Where am I? Lin Feng muttered to himself. Suddenly, a strong sense of dizziness flooded into my mind along with a large number of strange memories. The world of Jujutsu Kaisen. Am I transmigrating? After a long time, after digesting some memories, Lin Feng stared blankly at the furnishings of the room. I don't know how to describe the mood at the moment. Of course, Jujutsu Kaisen is no stranger to him. Not only is he no stranger, but he has been chasing after the manga since the beginning of the serialization. The manga changed to a series, and he endured until the whole season was updated, but he couldn't think of it. Finished, fell asleep, and when he woke up, it was the scene in front of him. Now Lin Feng's identity is impressively a teacher at Jujutsu High School, and also Gojo Satoru's class assistant. On weekdays, when Gojo Satoru performs special elimination tasks and has no time to take care of the teaching indicators, Lin Feng will lead the class and teach the newcomer Jujutsu. Curse and Jujutsu, Ryomen Sukuna Sealing Project, Brain 5, Shibuya Incident, High-Level Party Disputes. A person and an event keep flashing back in my mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host for traveling, the God-level sign-in system has been successfully activated. The daily check-in has been refreshed. Are you signed in? A series of electronically synthesized sounds sounded in his mind. Lin Feng's expression did not change much. After time travel, the system awakens and thus reaches the pinnacle of life. This is a very common script. The sign-in system is a bit bloody, but it's simple and rude, I like it. Lin Feng complained, and then the corners of his mouth rose. Sign in. The voice fell, and the system prompt sounded. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the 8 Physical Arts Dunjia. Taijutsu Bamen Dunjia comes from the plane of Hokage, and the representative character Mate Kai almost kicked out the finale with his 8-door full open taijutsu. In short, it is very tyrannical and violent. All the skills about the 8 sects of Dunjia poured into Lin Feng's body in an instant. Lin Feng closed his eyes and felt it. 10 minutes later, Lin Feng opened his eyes. Feeling a little hungry, Lin Feng stood up and was about to go out to find something to eat, when a lazy voice sounded from outside the door. Mr. Lin Feng, are you in the room? Lin Feng was startled. This voice, the person who came seemed to be Gojo Satoru. Please come in, Lin Feng said calmly. Oh, Mr. Lin Feng, it's great that you are here. The sliding wooden door opened, and a slender figure stepped in. The person came with white hair and a hood over his face. Gojo Satoru. Huh, is Mr. Lin Feng going out? Gojo Satoru asked. Lin Feng hummed. I'm a little hungry, I'm going to find something to eat. It just so happens that I have something to say to Mr. Lin Feng, so let's go to have a late-night snack together, and I must treat you. Lin Feng did not refuse. The two left Jujutsu College, came to the city, found a business izakaya, ordered something, and chatted while eating. Gojo Satoru cut to the chase. Mr. Lin Feng, I'm looking for you today mainly because of Ryomen Sukuna. This guy is the king of curses thousands of years ago. After being sealed, his fingers were divided into 20, which were stored in different sealing places. Yesterday, the higher-ups issued an order to recover Sukuna's finger, so I let Wei go. When Wei went to the sealed place, Sukuna's finger was lost. Wei did some research and found out that a few high school students from a nearby high school got it. When Wei arrived at the school, the seal paper had been torn, and the breath of his fingers attracted the surrounding curse to enter the school. There were still a few students. This is K's last information. Gojo Satoru took a sip of his tea and continued. Originally, I wanted to go there in person, but the upper echelon sent a special mission to eliminate it temporarily, saying that there is a special curse aura in Osaka. So can you go there for me? Take care of K. Lin Feng ate a bowl of ramen and wiped his mouth. It's okay for me to go there, but I don't want to see the face of the upper class. Mr. Lin Feng, you are still the same. Gojo Satoru just smiled. Okay, then take it as a favor to me. I owe you a favor, be sure to bring Sukuna's finger and Megumi back, and protect ordinary people at the same time. As for how to do it, you can figure it out. I'll take care of it at the upper level. After coming out of the izakaya, Lin Feng and Gojo Satoru split up. When Gojo Satoru left, the trace of worry on his face disappeared without a trace, because he knew that as long as Mr. Lin Feng agreed to help, any problems would be fine. In the silent high school, there was a sound of glass breaking. Senior, sister, are you all right? Relying on the motor nerves and physical fitness far beyond ordinary people, Itadori Yuji kicked the glass window, flew in from the window in the corridor, and then kicked Cursed Spirit in the face. The senior from the Spiritual Research Society, who was about to be devoured by Cursed Spirit, was forcibly pulled out by Itadori Yuji. As soon as Cursed Spirit's engulfing action stopped, the green pupils turned, locking on to the unexpected guest. Careful, Jade dogs save people. On the other side of the corridor, a figure stood. It was Fushiguro Megumi, who came to the school after chasing the super cursed object all the way. Fushiguro Megumi saw Itadori Yuji dare to snatch him from Cursed Spirit. He was also very frightened, and quickly changed the shape of his hand. The hands are dog-shaped. Following Fushiguro Megumi's order, the two jade dogs condensed by the spell summoning rushed out instantly, one black and one white, as swift as a gust of wind, and rushed up before Cursed Spirit attacked Itadori Yuji. Itadori Yuji also took the frightened senior sister to hide in the dark. Itadori, didn't I tell you not to come in? Fushiguro Megumi hastily blocked the two of them behind him. He felt his head hurting. He didn't know what evil he had done. He was ordered to recover the special grade cursed object. The cursed object was seized, and the location of the cursed object was found. The situation escalated to the extreme. The thing is, Itadori Yuji doesn't listen to people. If I hadn't taken my finger back, the school wouldn't be like this, and the seniors and sisters wouldn't be like this. This incident happened because of me. You think too highly of yourself. Fushiguro Megumi said coldly. You are just an unlucky. It is Jujutsu's job to get rid of curse. If you stay as an ordinary person, it will not be of any help, it will only be burden. Itadori Yuji was not angry, and after comforting the senior, he looked at Fushiguro Megumi seriously. You were right, I am not a jujutsu teacher, and I don't know curse, but I know that men have to do it for themselves, take responsibility for it. Grandpa told me that people are mortal, and I want to die under the witness of everyone. Itadori Yuji held a weird finger in his hand, and grinned. I only know that those things are here to snatch this finger. If we stay here, then the comatose seniors and sisters will have no chance of life. Quote. So those things must not stay here. Itadori Yuji clenched his fingers, picked up a chair and threw it at Cursed Spirit, then raised his finger high. Ugly guy. If you want this, come and catch me. After the words fell, Itadori Yuji jumped out of the window and went downstairs without hesitation. Itadori. Fushiguro Megumi watched Itadori Yuji suddenly jump out of the window, and couldn't help being distracted. This distraction directly gave Cursed Spirit an opportunity. After Cursed Spirit slapped the two jade dogs away, the mantra wrapped tables, chairs and benches and smashed towards Fushiguro Megumi. Even the Jujutsu division, Fushiguro Megumi is not invulnerable. Facing the sneak attack of Cursed Spirit, he had no choice but to pick up the unconscious student and dodge again and again. Cursed Spirit didn't intend to attack Fushiguro Megumi again, but took advantage of the chaos and broke out of the window, chasing Itadori Yuji outside. The special grade cursed object is a hot potato that is difficult to handle in the hands of Master Jujutsu, but in the eyes of Cursed Spirit, it is full of fatal attraction. The smell alone makes curse want to stop. All the cursed spirits in the school were absorbed by the strongest one, and combined into a Stitch monster with extremely fast speed, chasing Itadori Yuji. It was a game of cat and mouse. And like human beings, put down your fingers, I can show mercy and make your death less painful. Itadori Yuji looked back while running, and saw that the cursed spirit behind him was much bigger than in the corridor, as tall as a two-story building. If you want this finger, you have to dream. Itadori Yuji's speed has surpassed that of ordinary humans. He kept leaping vertically on the stair railing, picked up the stones on the ground, and threw them back. The stone was annihilated before it touched the cursed spirit's body. The dense eyes on Cursed Spirit were full of anger, and when the tentacles were waved, a shocking gully was drawn on the ground, and the stairs and buildings along the way were all destroyed. Itadori Yuji was taken to the sky as he ran, falling freely, and the cursed spirit had already come under him, opening its mouth like a whirlpool. Jade Dog, disturbing and distracting. Chi, save people. Fushiguro Megumi rushed out of the teaching building, switching hands, and 2 jade dogs, one black and one white, harassed Curse. It was the owl's grenades that flew across the night sky and caught the falling Itadori Yuji. Cursed spirit was restrained by the jade dog. Fushiguro Megumi took out the cursed tool, and rushed up resolutely. You all go to die. Curse burst into anger, his tentacles pierced deeply into the ground, pouring mana power into the ground, and then launched an indiscriminate attack. The fit of Curse is far from being as simple as getting bigger. Curse is born from the combination of negative emotions and resentment. The resentment of each curse is different, and the fit curse is superimposed with all resentment and negative emotions. The surge of mana spurted out from the ground, forming a tornado of black mana. Wherever the Jujutsu tornado passed, everything was cut into powder. Rao comes from the Zenin family, a well-known family of Jujutsu masters in the Jujutsu world, and the current Fushiguro Megumi is only a second-level Jujutsu master. And the combined curse in front of him has already reached the level of a first-level curse from the surge of mana power. Second versus 1 street. There is little hope of winning. Fushiguro Megumi gritted his teeth and looked at Curse, who was the first level in front of him, with an extremely nervous expression. His figure retreated violently, and at the same time, many questions popped up in his mind. The whole school is covered by tents, which isolate the outside world from the inside of the tents. If you can't influence the changes in the tents, even if teacher Gojo Satoru comes over, it will be difficult to find the specific location in a short time. And to affect the changes in the account, it can only be through the first level of curse. Call. Fushiguro Megumi was panting heavily. His spells were 10 kinds of shadow spells. The jade dogs and crows used in battle were all shadow shikigami summoned with spell power. As long as the shadow shikigami existed every second, it would be consume mana. Fuhei, calm down. Fushiguro Megumi kept hinting in his heart that he wanted to find a breakthrough, keep the students' personal safety, and use as little spell power as possible to get teacher Gojo Satoru to come over. Master Jujutsu over there, it's bad behavior to be in a daze during battle. Curse's playful voice sounded, and a tentacle flew out from the crack in the ground to wrap around Fushiguro Megumi's leg. Leap back. Boom. At this time, at the place where Fushiguro Megumi was retreating, a powerful hand broke through the ground and grabbed Fushiguro Megumi's body with lightning speed. Curse played with Fushiguro Megumi in the palm of his hand. The powerful force squeezed Fushiguro Megumi's body, and the possibility of being twisted and exploded at any time. Due to the capture of Fushiguro Megumi, the mana flowing in the body was blocked. The shell flying in midair disappeared instantly, and Itadori Hiroto also fell down. Itadori Hiroto was in a daze from being thrown, and stood up with his body supported, only to see Curse playing with Fushiguro Megumi recklessly, and, hand over that finger, or this Jujutsu master will die because of you. Curse is composed of negative emotions and resentment, and at the same time, it retains a certain amount of human thinking. The more advanced the curse, the clearer the thinking. Like a first-level curse, the thinking is no different from that of ordinary people. Itadori, leave me alone. Don't give up your fingers. Fushiguro Megumi yelled. Curse stepped up a little bit, and Fushiguro Megumi went straight to a serious injury. Now Master Jujutsu only has half his life left, and the other half depends on you. Curse stretched out a big hand with magic power. Hand over your fingers, you can survive. Curse continued to bewitch. Itadori Hiroto stood where he was, bowed his head and said nothing. Suddenly, he raised his head with a smile on his face. Ugly, do you really want this finger? Because of this finger, the school has become like this, seniors have become like this, and so is Fuhei, just because of this finger. Ugly, you want to get it so much, you probably want to absorb it or something. And, what are you going to do? Curse's mana powerful hand stretched out faster, and it sensed something bad. Itadori Hiroto made a certain decision, looking at the weird fingers in his hand. From childhood to adulthood, my physical quality is different from ordinary people. Since you want to devour your fingers to become stronger, then I can too. Quote. After the words fell, Itadori directly stuffed his entire finger into his mouth, chewing heavily, and a few teeth flew out. Don't want. Fushiguro Megumi watched as Itadori swallowed his finger and shouted loudly, Itadori, spit out the cursed object, your body can't take it. Itadori Hiroto fell to the ground and spit blood, I can do it. After saying this, Itadori stopped struggling. Curse's mentality collapsed and he was furious, and he was about to destroy Itadori Hiroto and Fushiguro Megumi. Just when Curse was about to crush Fushiguro Megumi, an afterimage flashed by, and the hands holding Fushiguro Megumi were all chopped off. Oh, is this the world after 1,000 years? Interesting, I smell countless blood food smells, and there are many new things. Happy, really happy. Itadori Yuji, no, to be precise, Ryomen Sukuna stored in Itadori Yujin's body, turned around slowly, and looked at Fushiguro Megumi playfully. Ha 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 ha, this kid swallowed my finger to save you. Ha ha, Ryomen Sukuna, the undisputed king of curses. Thousands of years ago, when Jujutsu was in its heyday, countless Jujutsu masters fought against it one after another, only to end up as a corpse. As king of curses, Ryomen Sukuna is fundamentally different from other cursed spirits. In addition to the gap in strength, there is also a huge gap in personality. In the eyes of Ryomen Sukuna, the world is at his fingertips. His code of conduct is to be happy, as long as it is a pleasant thing to do, such as humans, Jujutsu masters, cursed spirit, curse user, etc., there is no difference in his eyes. If you are unhappy, you can kill it. After all, Ryomen Sukuna is an extremely egoistic, self-respecting existence in heaven and earth. Occupying Itadori Yuji's body, Ryomen Sukuna looked around, moved the joints that had been sleeping for thousands of years, and said slowly, I don't care who you are, and I don't care what age you are now. With so many new things, you have to experience it yourself. As for you, Ryomen Sukuna pretended to think, for the sake of welcoming my awakening, let's kill you happily. Ryomen Sukuna enjoys killing, whether it is a human or a cursed spirit, it is a very comfortable feeling to kill a life with one's own hands, so comfortable that it can be addictive. Ryomen Sukuna, you really are Ryomen Sukuna. Cursed spirit, a group with broken arms, said, I heard that you were known as the strongest king of curses more than 1,000 years ago. It's just that you have been sealed for thousands of years, and now you only have one finger of strength. It's just a strong outside and a dry inside. I don't believe that you, even with one finger, have terrifying power. All the pupils of the group Cursed Spirit locked on Ryomen Sukuna, as long as I kill you. As long as I kill Ryomen Sukuna, I can be promoted to a super existence. Among the cursed spirits, there is also the law of the jungle. The more powerful the cursed spirit, the territory it owns, the subordinates it can drive, and the blood food it can enjoy, are not comparable to ordinary cursed spirits. The broken-armed cursed spirit has a bold idea to step on the newly awakened Ryomen Sukuna to rise to the top. Go to hell. Cursed spirit used both hands and feet, rushing towards Ryomen Sukuna with a force of destruction, and the surge of mana around him also reached a terrifying level. Boom! Just as Cursed Spirit approached infinitely, Ryomen Sukuna raised his hand, and clawed upwards with 5 fingers. That Cursed Spirit's huge body suddenly stagnated, and was immediately blown away. Flash fell all over the sky. Ryomen Sukuna made a gesture of bathing in it, and the corners of his mouth rose wildly. Even if there is only one finger, it is not something you can touch. Fushiguro Megumi, who was lying on the ground beside him, was dumbfounded. Cursed Spirit, which made him suffer so much, was instantly killed by Ryomen Sukuna with a single blow. And it's just a one-finger state. King of Curses Ryomen Sukuna has 2 arms and a total of 20 fingers. If all 20 fingers are collected, the consequences will be disastrous. There's one more. Ryomen Sukuna turned to look at Fushiguro Megumi, and just as he was about to make a move, Itadori Yuji's consciousness began to crowd in his body. Snapped. Itadori Yuji slapped him on the face. What are you doing with someone's body? What? How could you? The body is out of control. The second pair of eyes on the face closed and body control returned to Itadori Yuji. Itadori, you swallowed that finger and became one with Ryomen Sukuna. You are also a curse now, and I will pluck you out according to Jujutsu rules. Fushiguro Megumi's trembling hands wanted to knuckle and summon Shikigami, but his injuries and lack of mana power prevented him from doing so. I can't summon Shikigami anymore. What should I do? At this moment, a gust of night wind blows. Under the moonlight, a slender figure appeared on the roof of the nearby teaching building. The person who came was naturally Lin Feng, who came to help Gojo Satoru clean up the mess. Lin Feng glanced at Fushiguro Megumi and Itadori Yuji below, especially since the latter had completed his union with Ryomen Sukuna. Fu-hei, Lin Feng called out. Fushiguro Megumi, who was helpless at first, heard this voice, turned his head and saw Lin Feng stepped out under the moonlight, leapt down from the roof of the teaching building, and landed firmly on the ground. Teacher Lin Feng. Fushiguro Megumi was a little surprised. His real-time receipts were all sent to Mr. Gojo Satoru, but why did Mr. Lin Feng, the deputy of the class, come over? Gojo Satoru has a special mission to get rid of it. He has already gone to Osaka. I was asked by him to come and see your situation. Lin Feng said calmly. Fushiguro Megumi stood up and reported. Teacher Lin Feng, the cursed spirit in the school has been killed. Ryomen Sukuna's finger, the finger has been swallowed. I see. Lin Feng looked at Itadori Yuji, who was not far away, and hooked his fingers. Come here. Itadori Yuji walked over out of nowhere. According to the Jujutsu rules, any existence that is contaminated with curse and becomes curse must be disposed of. Lin Feng said slowly. Fu-hei, what do you think we should do? Fushiguro Megumi was silent for a while, and then said seriously. Mr. Lin Feng, according to Jujutsu rules, Itadori Yuji will be dealt with, but he swallowed his fingers to save me. I don't want him to die, it's a personal affair. I see. Lin Feng smiled lightly, me too. Fushiguro Megumi was startled, thinking he heard it wrong. Teacher Lin Feng, you mean? I don't want this guy to die either. With his hands in his pockets, Lin Feng looked at Itadori Yuji. Itadori Yuji, right, you can suppress that guy. Itadori Yuji nodded. Okay, that guy is a bit noisy. 10 seconds. Lin Feng said, you will come back in 10 seconds. Ah, isn't this too dangerous? When Ryomen Sukuna killed Cursed Spirit just now, Itadori Yuji felt it all the way. He could switch the control of his body, but he was afraid that the guy in his body would be restless. After all, according to Fushiguro Megumi, this Ryomen Sukuna is an extremely dangerous existence. Don't worry, I can give you one hand. The reason why Lin Feng readily agreed to Gojo Satoru's request is also very simple. One is to get in touch with Itadori Yuji, and the other is to try the power of the 8 gates with Ryomen Sukuna. After Lin Feng finished speaking, he took the initiative to put his right hand on his back. Then be careful. Itadori Yuji lowered his head, and after a while, the second pair of eyes on his face opened again, the black lines on his body also emerged, and the extremely strong mantra was faintly surging. Idiot. A complete idiot. Ryomen Sukuna burst into laughter. I was careless just now, but I didn't expect to dare to give me my body. Now it won't happen, I will occupy this body. And, Ryomen Sukuna looked at Lin Feng with 4 eyes. Master Jujutsu, you said you want to give me a hand, right? Lin Feng nodded and said, how about 2? As soon as the voice fell, Ryomen Sukuna's figure disappeared in place without leaving an afterimage, and appeared directly behind Lin Feng. His black nails were very sharp, and he grabbed at the back of his heart. Open the door. With a thought, Lin Feng opened the second door of the Bamen Dunjia, the shoe door. The moment the shoe door opened, the blood and mana in his body boiled, and evaporated out of his body like water vapor. Boom! Lin Feng turned around and came first. Before Ryomen Sukuna's claws came, he slapped Ryomen Sukuna's face with a slap. The powerful and pure force pushed Ryomen Sukuna to the ground. Ryomen Sukuna was lying on the ground, his sight was covered by a palm, and he couldn't stand up because of the sheer incomparable force. This Jujutsu master actually evaporate the magic power and use pure physical strength. Why can this physical strength be so tyrannical? Make yourself powerless to resist. Ryomen Sukuna couldn't move, feeling the heat from Lin Feng's palm. He had the illusion that as long as this man wanted to, he could tear himself apart in minutes. In addition to Ryomen Sukuna, Fushiguro Megumi on the side also opened his mouth wide. He never thought that the class assistant teacher Lin Feng could be so strong. In Jujutsu High School, Lin Feng is the most low-key in-service teacher. Except for the teaching index of substitute Gojo Satoru, the rest of the time hardly participates in the affairs of the high school, such as high-level elimination tasks or other activities. Avoid it. As time goes by, the upper echelons of the college don't bother to care about it, and even the novice jujutsu teacher of the Jujutsu College just thinks that Lin Feng is an ordinary teacher. But now, Fushiguro Megumi sees it. Just after waking up, Ryomen Sukuna, who killed level 1 cursed spirit instantly with one finger, was slapped to the ground by Lin Feng, unable to fight back. 10 seconds passed quickly. Itadori Yuji also changed back and regained control of the body. Go to sleep first. Lin Feng pointed at Itadori Yuji's forehead, and then lifted him on his shoulder. Fuhei, can you still go? I can still. I took a special car back to Jujutsu High School in the mountains. It was already daylight. Fushiguro Megumi and Itadori Yuji were sent for treatment. Lin Feng returned to the residence alone, washed up and started to catch up on sleep. This sleep was very comfortable, and it was already afternoon when I woke up. Lin Feng unlocked his mobile phone, and the missed calls and text messages popped up, and the phone was almost stuck. The calls and text messages were all from Gojo Satoru alone. The content of the text message was nothing more than asking why Ryomen Sukuna's container was not disposed of on the spot and brought back to the high school. When Lin Feng cleared the text messages and was about to call Gojo Satoru back, Gojo Satoru's voice sounded from outside the door. Mr. Lin Feng, are you in there? Why didn't you answer my call? Did you read the text message I sent you? I'm coming in. I'll come in on the count of 3. 3. Gojo Satoru opened the door and walked in, met Lin Feng's eyes. Mr. Lin Feng, who are you? Just woke up. Lin Feng said. It was already dawn when I came back, so I just took a nap, so I didn't receive the call. So that's the case. Gojo Satoru approached Lin Feng. But the point is not this, the point is why didn't Mr. Lin Feng dispose of Ryomen Sukuna's container on the spot? Because I don't want him to die, it's a personal affair. Gojo Satoru was stunned, unable to laugh or cry. I visited Wei just now, and he also made the same excuses. I didn't expect you to do the same. You can't be colluding, right? Oh, forget it, since the lovely student and good friend want to keep that boy, then I can only join the gang. Mr. Lin Feng, come with me to see that boy. After Fushiguro Megumi and Itadori Yuji were brought back to Jujutsu High School, the treatment they received was completely different. The former received careful care, while the latter simply treated his injuries and was tied up in a room full of talisman papers. There is no other reason. When Itadori Yuji swallowed Sukuna's finger, he couldn't go back to his human identity, but since he is curse, he must be removed. Lin Feng and Gojo Satoru came to the place where Itadori Yuji was being held, and were immediately stopped by the guards. Ms. Gojo Satoru, Mr. Lin Feng, the higher-ups have issued an order that no one can approach the Sukuna container. Please don't make it difficult for us. Gojo Satoru straightened the guard's collar, and helped him retie his tie. He patted the ashes. We are a member of Jujutsu High School. Naturally, we understand the rules. It won't make it difficult for you, just simply look. This. Looking at Gojo Satoru's harmless smile, the guards couldn't even say a word of refusal. After all, they were facing Gojo Satoru. The man standing on the ceiling of Jujutsu has always acted in an unrestrained style. Generally, the upper management may not be able to stop what he wants to do. After a moment of ideological struggle, the guards stepped aside. Thanks for your hard work. Thank you. Locked in the room, an unconscious Itadori Yuji was tied behind his back to an armchair with shackles on his hands and feet. I haven't woken up yet. Gojo Satoru looked at Itadori Yuji. He is a young man full of energy. Lin Feng walked up to Itadori Yuji and untied the shackles on his wrists and ankles. Mr. Lin Feng, is it okay to untie it like this? Lin Feng said. Itadori is not a prisoner, and he can control the Ryomen Sukuna in his body. Even if he goes berserk, how much impact do you think it will have? That's right. Gojo Satoru found a chair and sat down. Don't worry, I'm invincible after all. Mr. Lin Feng, before Mr. Itadori wakes up, you can tell me the reason. The reason. Lin Feng sat down on the chair. Actually, there is no special reason, just like you like shijufu with edamame milk flavor. That's it, then I have to take a good look at shijufu. After a while, Itadori Yuji woke up in a daze. When he opened his eyes, he saw that he was in a strange room surrounded by talisman papers, and there were two people sitting in front of him. Itadori-san, you're awake. Gojo Satoru took the initiative to say hello. Well, you are now the container of Ryomen Sukuna. According to the rules of the Jujutsu world, you will be removed, but you are very lucky. My lovely student and best friend want to keep you, so I'm curious why I kept you myself. Itadori Yuji couldn't keep up with Gojo Satoru's train of thought, so he could only look at Lin Feng for help. Lin Feng said slowly, just tell me everything that happened between the time you picked up your finger and before you fell into a coma. Itadori Yuji followed his words and told the story from beginning to end. As a witness, Itadori Yuji's speech was more comprehensive and more understandable. Gojo Satoru listened carefully and nodded from time to time. It's probably like this. Gojo Satoru crossed his legs. Student Itadori, are you afraid of death? Death. Itadori Yuji nodded. I used to be afraid of death. Fearing senseless death now. Since my existence is useful and can help others, then I want to make my death meaningful. If I can choose to die, I want to die under the witness of everyone. Gojo Satoru stroked his chin. I think I have a reason to keep you, so let's try it. Itadori-san, you have to work hard to live longer. Ah, didn't you say that I'm already a curse and you want to get rid of me? Please ignore these details. Gojo Satoru waved his hand and said, I have saved many people and given them the hope of living. This is the first time for people to die calmly. I think it is very interesting. Gojo Satoru stood up and glanced at Lin Feng. Mr. Lin Feng, if there is nothing else, I will take Mr. Itadori to go through the procedure. How about meeting the principal, or do you want to go with me? Not interested. Lin Feng shook his head. You can deal with it. Regarding the placement of Itadori Yuji, with Gojo Satoru coming forward, any problem can be easily solved. Lin Feng was happy to relax and wandered around the Jujutsu High School. Jujutsu High School is packaged as a place of religious ceremonies. It is located in the mountains, and no outsiders will come to it on weekdays. Because of Jujutsu's downturn and decline, most of the Jujutsu teachers trained by the college have already gone their own way, and those who stay in the Jujutsu college are just newcomers and faculty members. Lin Feng strolled along the cobbled road lined with lush trees, and the leaves rustled when a gust of wind blew. Mr. Lin Feng. Mr. Lin Feng. Lin Feng stopped in his tracks, turned his head and saw Ieri Shoko behind him. Ieri Shoko is wearing a white doctor's gown, lined with a burgundy dress. The dress perfectly outlines the figure, which is the most perfect state of a woman. Why, pretend not to be familiar with me. Ieri Shoko walked up to him with lotus steps. Speaking of which, Mr. Lin Feng should thank me. Yes, I really should thank you. Lin Feng said, what do you think is a better way to thank you? Ieri Shoko pushed his glasses on the bridge of his nose, stared at Lin Feng for a while, and said in surprise, Mr. Lin Feng, did I hear it wrong, or did the sun come out from the west today? When Ieri Shoko heard Lin Feng's reply, he couldn't help himself. Nowadays, there are not many teaching staff in Jujutsu High School, and most of them are from the same period. Ieri Shoko, Gojo Satoru, and Lin Feng belong to the same group who entered the high school and graduated from the same group. As contemporaries, they knew each other's personalities well. Lin Feng described it as an iceberg, extremely cold, and strangers should not get close to him. Except for Gojo Satoru who can chat, others don't get much response. This kind of indifference runs through to his acting style. He is obviously super strong in strength and technique, but so far he is only a quasi-first-level Jujutsu master, which shows that he is a Buddhist. This man really doesn't care about the things around him. But it never occurred to me that this iceberg actually melted today. Lin Feng smiled. You heard me right, what I said was serious. I meant to save Itadori Yuji at first. After he was brought back to the high school, you would be the first one to deal with it. If it wasn't for your help, Itadori Yuji has long been reduced to a container and handed over to high-level hands, or has been disposed of. So thank you, there is nothing wrong with it. The Jujutsu teacher of the same period, Ieri Shoko is the most special. Her spells and reversal spells are both healing. There are many combat-type Jujutsu masters, and healing-type Jujutsu spells are rare and rare. Generally, this kind of special talent needs to be special treated. Therefore, Ieri Shoko also has the reputation of a high-tech treasure. In terms of healing, even the principal Yae Masamiki or other high-level officials must listen to the opinions of Ieri Shoko. Otherwise, the identity of the Itadori Yuji Sukuna container would not be as simple as lying safely in the sealed room. It was you who said you wanted to thank me, so I will not be polite. Mr. Lin Feng, how about we have a drink? Ieri Shoko doesn't have many hobbies, except for studying the human body and cursed spirit, and drinking is one of them. It's just that drinking is easy to make mistakes, so usually no one wants to drink with her. Okay, just find a place. That's great. Ieri Shoko took out his phone and seemed to think of something. Mr. Lin Feng, maybe I can bring someone with me. It's my very good friend, the one with super good wine and personality. Lin Feng nodded. It's fine, I don't care. Izakaya. Lin Feng and Ieri Shoko came one step ahead. For the latter, coming to an izakaya is like going home. After taking their seats, the waiter brought a jug of sake. Mr. Lin Feng, the sake here is a must, and the side dishes and sashimi that go with the wine are very good. Ieri Shoko introduced while pouring wine, took a sip clearly, and let out a very comfortable moan. Ah, it feels like the whole person is alive. Lin Feng also took a sip of the wine. The aroma of the wine was strong and it was really good. Ieri Shoko held his cheeks in his hands, looked at Lin Feng and said, Mr. Lin Feng, I have an unreal feeling that I can drink with you. Lin Feng said flatly, there will be more opportunities in the future. Makes sense. After drinking a pot of sake, Ieri Shoko looked at his phone. Here's the person, I'll go out and pick him up. Ieri Shoko got up and left his seat, and Lin Feng asked the waiter to prepare a new set of tableware. Moments later, Ieri Shoko turned back to the izakaya, and her so-called friend turned out to be someone both expected and unexpected. Iori Utahime, the only jujutsu teaching institution, an in-service teacher of Kyoto Prefectural Jujutsu College, a prospective first-level jujutsu teacher, and a freshman student. Mr. Lin Feng, long time no see. Iori Utahime is wearing a white maiden costume. Her long black hair is ended by a big white butterfly on the back of her head. Her face is exquisite, and the scars on her face add a different kind of temperament. Haven't seen you for a long time. As soon as Lin Feng finished speaking, the memory about Iori Utahime also flashed back in his mind, and he was stunned immediately, as if he had a relationship with Iori Utahime in his memory. This. Lin Feng was in a trance for a while. He never thought of this. If Ieri Shoko hadn't asked Iori Utahime out, maybe this memory would not have appeared. This is a bit embarrassing. Ahem. Lin Feng looked for a topic and said, Are you from Kyoto? Iori Utahime nodded and shook his head again. His tone was erratic. Yes, he came from Kyoto, and he came here to deal with matters, so we will get together with nitrate. Iori Utahime would never say it was planned anyway. In the morning, Ieri Shoko made a phone call to Iori Utahime and told about Lin Feng saving the Sukuna container. As a thank you for his help, I can try to ask Lin Feng out. After the plan was finalized, Iori Utahime ended his day of teaching early, and before he even had time to change his private server, he took the Shinkansen and came here from Kyoto. The purpose is to meet Lin Feng. Iori Utahime sat down, sitting opposite Lin Feng, changed his normal routine and didn't talk much, even listening to Ieri Shoko and Lin Feng chatting with each other, even their favorite drink, he was very restrained. Mr. Lin Feng, I'm curious why you took so much effort to keep Sukuna's container. According to the rules of the jujutsu world, that boy should be dealt with rationally. Did I take a lot of trouble? Lin Feng asked back. Yeah, Ieri Shoko said. The recycling of Ryomen Sukuna's fingers, Kyoto Prefectural and Tokyo Prefectural were carried out simultaneously, and the whole incident was valued by the upper echelon at the beginning. The release of the special grade cursed objects seal is the last thing the upper echelons want to see. That is to say, since the boy named Itadori Yuji swallowed his finger, everything has changed. If Mr. Lin Feng didn't want to keep him and let that guy Gojo Satoru come forward, he would have been dealt with already. So I'm curious. Lin Feng looked at Ieri Shoko, and Iori Utahime was also very interested. The reason is very simple, because I want Itadori Yuji to live. Lin Feng said firmly. There is a reason for the downturn in the jujutsu era today. Let those decayed old antiques of the big three sorcerer families be in charge. using long outdated it is inappropriate to examine the world by rules. Mr. Lin Feng, no wonder you and that guy Gojo Satoru are best friends, they are so similar. Maybe. Tokyo Prefectural Jujutsu High School. Gojo Satoru took Itadori Yuji, who had come to life, through a series of quaint buildings, and went straight to the principal's place. Itadori, no matter what happens later, you have to remember that Principal Yae is a very good person. Gojo Satoru vaccinated Itadori Yuji before going in. Mr. Gojo, what you said sounds weird. On the way here, Gojo Satoru has given Itadori Yuji a popular science on the nature of the world, the difference between Jujutsu and Curse, the current situation, and Itadori Yuji's current situation. Well, don't worry too much, as long as you play normally. Gojo Satoru patted Itadori Yuji on the shoulder, then pushed open the door and led people in. Gojo, you are too slow, you are a full 8 minutes late. In the dojo, Yae Masamiki is sitting on the futon in the center, playing with a special needle in his hand. The needle point keeps piercing the doll in his hand, and there are also dolls of different shapes around him. The whole picture is extremely fragmented. Yae Masamiki has a hulking back, an upright body, wearing a pair of sunglasses, and can't see the expression on his face clearly. He is majestic and cold, but this person with such a style of painting is actually making dolls. Sorry, I wasted a little time on the road. Gojo Satoru laughed and said, besides, Principal Yae is making dolls for fun, isn't 8 minutes short. Yae Masamiki stopped pricking the needle, and said slowly, your class assistant is messing around, and you are messing around too. It really doesn't make me worry. Itadori, the person in front of you is the Principal Yae Masamiki of our Tokyo Prefectural Jujutsu High School. Gojo Satoru smiled awkwardly and politely, and patted Itadori Yuji with his big hand. The latter reacted and bowed at 90 degrees to say hello, I'm Itadori Yuji. It's the first time we meet. Please take care of me. Masamiki didn't even look at Itadori Yuji, and put down the doll in his hand. Gojo, have you really thought about it? Ah, I brought everyone here, so it's too late to repent now, right? Gojo Satoru shrugged. Yae Masamiki looked at Itadori Yuji, even through a pair of sunglasses, but the uncomfortable feeling of being locked in still enveloped the former's head. What do you want to do here? Or what do you want to be? Itadori Yuji scratched the back of his head. Should I learn Jujutsu and become a Jujutsu teacher? Master Jujutsu, that's all for later. Yae Masamiki waved his hand and said, suppose you become a Jujutsu master, what do you want to do? Didn't I want me to swallow all of Sukuna's fingers and seal them up? Itadori Yuji said, I want to remove curse and save more people. Unqualified, Yae Masamiki said coldly. From your answer, I don't feel any possibility of becoming a Jujutsu teacher. It seems that your understanding of Master Jujutsu is still superficial and not thorough enough. Speaking of this, Yae Masamiki threw the doll out of her hand. This is a cursed skeleton made by infusing my magic power, let it teach you. If I don't hear a satisfactory answer, the attack will not stop. Boom. Itadori Yuji hadn't realized what the curse was before he was punched firmly in the jaw by the green funny-faced curse. Wow. After receiving an uppercut, Itadori Yuji flew upside down, and the curse slammed into him without giving him any chance to breathe. His fists were fast and heavy, hitting them like continuous shells. At first, Itadori Yuji was beaten all the time, his nose was black and his eyes were swollen, and he rolled over and over. Slowly, he started to try to fight back and dodge, but it didn't work. When Itadori Yuji is in a defensive stance or preparing to dodge, the power and speed of the skeleton increase. The situation of being beaten has not changed. After beating again and again, Itadori Yuji slowly calmed down, and abruptly, he stretched out his hand to lock and hug the skull, while closing his eyes in meditation. After a while, Itadori Yuji opened his eyes, with a flash of seriousness in his eyes. After collecting Ryomen Sukuna fingers and then going to die, or protecting others to die or something, I don't want it. I don't want my death to be worthless, but I also don't want to be dictated how to die. My life should be in my hands. Become a Jujutsu teacher. I don't do it for anyone, only for myself. Yae Masamiki pondered for a while. Master Jujutsu's most taboo is to go against one's will, to protect others and save something. This kind of reason is too vain. With this mentality, when life and death are at stake, you will only complain about your bad luck and encounter an invincible curse, and then feel that you have done your best and accept death calmly. It's bullshit. Master Jujutsu and curse are like fire and water. Curse will not stop activities just because Master Jujutsu is dead because of his best efforts. As soon as you die, it's just called giving everything. It's ridiculous. Yae Masamiki opened her mouth to criticize most people's cognition. Only for yourself, for your own life, will you practice hard, so that you can survive and be able to survive. Beat curse and do what you said. Itadori Yuji, you are qualified. Woo, take him down to allocate a dormitory, tell him about the history and rules of Jujutsu High School, and close the door when you go out. The gaze returned to the izakaya. Lin Feng's cell phone rang and unlocked. It was a text message from Gojo Satoru. Itadori Yuji's enrollment procedures have been completed. Mr. Lin Feng, I am looking forward to your thank you. Mr. Lin Feng, you smiled, is there something good? Ieri Shoko was slightly drunk and spoke slowly. It's a good thing. Lin Feng's answer was ambiguous. After all, Ieri Shoko had almost drunk, and he was only a little away from the fragment. Now he can't remember it the next day after he said it. It's just that what Lin Feng didn't expect was that the speaker had no intention, but the listener did. At the same time as his voice fell, Iori Utahime on the side lowered his head, his face flushed. It was unknown whether it was due to his slight drunkenness or other reasons. Mr. Lin Feng is still the same as before, not much has changed. Mr. Lin Feng looks so pretty when he smiles. He said today is a good thing, and it's a good thing to meet me. Iori Utahime kept talking to himself, hinting at himself, and the little deer in his heart was also very energetic, jumping up and down. However, the lights in the izakaya were dim, and Lin Feng did not see Iori Utahime's secret joy. Utahime, let's get here first today. Lin Feng said. Okay. Iori Utahime looked at Ieri Shoko, knowing that if he drank any more, Shoko would probably go crazy with alcohol, so it's good to order it now. Do you need help? Lin Feng asked if he wanted to help. No, I can do it. Iori Utahime supported Ieri Shoko, and swallowed the second half of the sentence. Drunk people used to take care of them when they were awake. After Lin Feng paid the bill, he walked out of the izakaya with his two daughters. Utahime, do you want to go back to the college or get a room outside? The wind at night has a magical power. When the wind blows, Ieri Shoko, who was only slightly drunk, fell into a deep sleep. At this time, the last train of the Shinkansen also stopped. Iori Utahime takes care of Ieri Shoko, either returning to the high school together or staying overnight. It's fine for me and Shoko to stay outside. Iori Utahime said. Mr. Lin Feng, don't worry. Give you a taxi and I'll go. Lin Feng came to the side of the road and stood still. A taxi in the traffic was stopped. Utahime, get in the car. Iori Utahime helped Ieri Shoko into the back seat of the car, closed the car door, and before leaving, Maimo looked at Lin Feng and asked, Mr. Lin Feng, are we friends now? Didn't we before? Back at Jujutsu High School, it was already midnight. The daily check-in has been refreshed. Are you signed in? The system beeps. Lin Feng glanced at the time. It was 1:30 in the middle of the night. It seems that the future daily check-in will be at this time. Sign in. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the full state of skill mana. With the system prompt toned down, the skills about the state of full mana poured into his body in an instant. Lin Feng closed his eyes and felt it, and then he couldn't help laughing out loud. The state of full mana is more of a passive skill than a skill. Because it doesn't have any means of attack at all, and it doesn't have attack attributes, but purely filled with magic power. As long as Lin Feng consumes the mana will be replenished in time when the mana is full. The ratio of consumption to mana is 1:2. If the mantra is quantified, how much mana power Lin Feng consumes to activate Jujutsu, then the mana power will be doubled in the next second. Just don't be too cool. After Lin Feng washed up, he lay on the bed. Because he slept too much during the day, he didn't feel sleepy at night, so he had to organize his thoughts, think about the events that would happen next, and be dazzled by the unknown. Strictly speaking, Lin Feng's original body did not exist in the Jujutsu Kaisen world. but not only does it exist now, but it is also the same period as Gojo Satoru, and he also had a relationship with Iori Utahime. When Lin Feng crosses over, this parallel world is full of butterfly effects. The butterfly effect will cause a series of unconventional changes. The slightest is a change in the plot direction, and the serious one may directly subvert the existing Jujutsu world, giving birth to an existence beyond the rules of the world. So it is not enough to plan ahead and make some preparations. Lin Feng rested his hands on the back of his head, looked at the ceiling, and self-assessed his current strength. It is certain that with the help of the 8 Dunjia techniques, he is enough to stand on the level of the physical ceiling. In the state of full mana power, you can let yourself fully perform jujutsu and spells. Speaking of spells, Lin Feng's spells are very interesting. Articulation. Spell elementalization. As long as Lin Feng activates the spell, he can transform his own mana into mana elements, such as mana fire, mana water, mana wind, mana earth, mana thunder and so on. Suddenly, Lin Feng had a flash of light in his mind, and he sat up in shock, the corners of his mouth crazily raised, and he had an incredible idea. Since my jujutsu can be elementalized with mana, I wonder if I can use jujutsu to ninjutsu. It's worth trying. The night passed quietly. The next morning, Lin Feng went out and ran into Gojo Satoru head-on, with Itadori Yuji and Fushiguro Megumi behind him. Teacher Lin Feng. The two took the initiative to say hello, especially Itadori Yuji with a loud and energetic voice. Lin Feng nodded, looked at Gojo Satoru and said, "Wu, are you going to pick someone up?" "Ah, I thought Mr. Lin Feng didn't know." Gojo Satoru said, "The quota was set a long time ago. There is no way there are too few senior professionals, counting newcomers, the first grade is only 3 years old, individual. Speaking of which, Mr. Lin Feng wants to pick up people together. Let's go together. I just want to thank you for your help. You arranged today's itinerary, and I will pay for it." "Wow," Gojo Satoru said in a circle, "Mr. Lin Feng is surprisingly reliable. Next time you don't have to spin around. Shibuya Harajuku. Harajuku Station is a symbol of fashion in Tokyo. The whole block is a paradise for young people, full of fashion elements, and the young men and women walking on the street are also glamorous fashionistas." "Ms. Gojo Satoru, Mr. Lin Feng, so why did we pick them up in Harajuku?" "On the streets of Harajuku, where there is a constant flow of people, Jujutsu High School and his party squatted on the side of the street. For Itadori Yuji, an otaku, it feels uncomfortable to come to a place with so many people. Because this is the request of the person involved." Gojo Satoru crossed his arms. "I've been in the mountains for a long time. Wouldn't it be nice to experience urban fashion after a long absence?" "I didn't feel it." Itadori Yuji shook his head. He had heard more than one time someone passing by said they were dirty. "Itadori, caring too much about other people's evaluations will only increase your troubles." Gojo Satoru said softly, "You should learn from teacher Lin Feng and stand still." "Ha," Itadori Yuji pointed to the side. "Mr. Gojo Satoru, you mean Mr. Lin Feng, who is surrounded by girls for taking pictures, and you want to contact him?" "Ahem, don't pay attention to these details. On the streets of Harajuku, there are many handsome men and beautiful women. Among them are scouts who discover amateurs, walking on the street to find suitable seedlings." "Hello miss, I'm a scout. Your appearance and temperament are very good. Are you interested in becoming an artist?" A middle-aged man with a wretched appearance kept lobbying beautiful women on the street. Just as he found his target again and was about to strike up a conversation, a hand stretched out from behind and clasped his shoulder like iron clamps. "Uncle, what do you think of me? Can I be an artist or a model?" The wretched middle-aged man turned his head, only to see a girl with short orange hair looking down at him from above, and could vaguely feel the murderous look between her brows. "I'm sorry, I don't dare anymore, please let me go." "Why let you go? Aren't you a talent scout? Aren't you looking for amateurs to become artists? Let me ask you how I am." Kugasaki Nobara raised his eyebrows and accidentally lifted the middle-aged man up. "Ah, I'm sorry." Chapter 11. "Ah, I'm sorry, please forgive me this time. I beg my eldest sister to walk around me once and give me a chance. This is my first time, and I promise it will be the last time." The middle-aged wretched man is not a scout at all, but a garbage man who abducts young girls by cheating. When he meets a ruthless character, his true colors are revealed on the spot. After all, no one can resist being carried like a chicken. Only then did Kugasaki Nobara come to his senses. Anger rose in his beautiful eyes, and he looked directly at the greasy face of the middle-aged man. Are you a fake scout, or an idiot who kidnapped an ignorant girl? I'm sorry. The middle-aged man looked at the killing intent in Kugasaki Nobara's eyes and almost peed on the spot. Kugasaki Nobara leaned in unhappily. I have a lot of beautiful fantasies about Tokyo. I just got off the train, and my good mood was disturbed by you. The middle-aged wretched man has nothing but a repeater-style apology. Not anymore. Nagizaki-san, leave the idiots to the Metropolitan Police Department, let the professional do the professional things. This way, look over here. Kugasaki Nobara was about to beat up the wretched man to vent his anger when he heard a lazy male voice from the side. Well, Kugasaki Nobara followed the prestige and saw 4 men squatting on the side of the road, waiting for a long time. The person who greeted him was a white-haired blindfolded man. Guys who exude rusticity from head to toe, feel good about themselves, but I hate overconfident guys, and a couple of nice-looking. Kugasaki Nobara glanced at the 4 of them. They were all dressed in the same clothes. No doubt they were the people from Jujutsu High School who came to pick him up. What? It's impolite to stare at others with such eyes. Itadori Yuji grumbled. Fushiguro Megumi remained silent. Gojo Satoru is smiling and acting as the atmosphere group. As for Lin Feng, he naturally called the police. Kugasaki Nobara walked over with the wretched man, and said hello. Hey, cheer up, young man, a little red is coming. Several people took turns to introduce themselves, and after a while, someone from the Metropolitan Police Department took the middle-aged wretched man away, and the 5-member Jujutsu High School team was able to talk properly. Gojo Satoru coughed lightly. First of all, I welcome Nagasaki-san to Tokyo and successfully joined the Tokyo Prefectural Jujutsu High School. Today is the day when everyone gathers, so it's better to hit the sun at the right time, so let's take a good look around Tokyo. When they heard about visiting Tokyo, Itadori Yuji and Kugasaki Nobara immediately unified their style of painting. After all, both of them came to Tokyo for the first time, and they haven't fully experienced the charm of Tokyo yet. In this way, a group of people started from Harajuku and found several popular sightseeing spots around for an afternoon. The happy shopping time passed quickly. When the sun set and the group arrived in Roppongi, Kugasaki Nobara and Itadori Yuji had already bought a lot of things. Evening. Roppongi, a blockade site. When he saw the warning yellow line, Kugasaki Nobara looked at the cloudy sky very sensitively. Isn't it? Can't you have a good rest on the first day? Itadori Yuji asked in confusion. Kajizaki-san, what's wrong? Is there something wrong? All the way from the commercial area of Roppongi to the residential area, there are fewer and fewer people. When you come here, there are people from the Metropolitan Police Department and the warning yellow line. Itadori Yuji doesn't think so, thinking that something happened. Kugasaki Nobara was stunned, and looked at Gojo Satoru and Lin Feng in disbelief. Teachers, aren't they? Are they still pure beginners? Lin Feng said. Student Itadori's situation is a bit special. In fact, like you, he is taking the entrance examination for the first time today. Kugasaki Nobara didn't even know what to say. What kind of muggle do people have to be to not notice the existence of curse and jong? Having said that, Itadori Yuji belatedly understood the current situation. The itinerary for visiting Tokyo is enough, and the next step is the entrance examination. The assessment was with Kugasaki Nobara. Students, we are here. Gojo Satoru, who was walking ahead, stopped, and in front of him was a gloomy apartment building. Around the apartment building, black curtains shrouded it. Curse's breath became stronger and stronger. There is a large cemetery nearby, and there are dilapidated apartment buildings, so there are curses. Your task is to remove the curses inside. By the way, the surrounding residents have all evacuated safely. You can let go of your hands and feet, but don't let yourself go too much. Itadori Yuji and Kugasaki Nobara glanced at each other, and the former froze for a moment. Mr. Gojo Satoru, isn't Fuhei with us? Wei is already a veritable first-year student, so naturally he doesn't need to take the assessment again. Gojo Satoru said as he took out a cursed tool and handed it over. Itadori, this is the cursed tool that kills sitting demons. Can cause damage to cursed spirit, you should use it now. Itadori Yuji took over Zuoma, and Kugasaki Nobara opened the yellow warning line and walked into the apartment building. As soon as the two of them left, a phone call came to Gojo Satoru. After Gojo Satoru listened to the call, his expression changed slightly. Mr. Lin Feng, I can only rely on you for today's assessment. In case of an emergency, we found out about Sha Yuji's trace through the window. He has already arrived in Tokyo. Lin Feng couldn't help raising his eyebrows. Speaking of Sha Yuji, one has to mention the past that no one wants to recall. About 10 years ago, the Jujutsu world and Jujutsu colleges at that time were not the same as they are today. At that time, Yae Masamiki was not the principal of Tokyo Prefectural Jujutsu High School, but a teacher in a high school with 4 students under his command. Lin Feng, Gojo Satoru, Ieri Shoko, Sha Yuji. As one of the big 3 sorcerer families, Gojo Satoru, the only Gojo who has the 6 eyes no lower limit spell for hundreds of years, has already become famous, and it is only a matter of time before he becomes invincible. Sha Yuji did not give up too much. With cursed spirit skills, he is also a rising star that cannot be ignored in the Jujutsu world. Compared with the two of them, Lin Feng and Ieri Shoko's sense of presence is weaker. Without that incident, the Jujutsu world would be different today, but it is a pity that there is no if. Lin Feng withdrew his thoughts and looked as usual. Understood, leave this to me, and if you see someone, please say hello for me. I will. Gojo Satoru left. Only Lin Feng and Fushiguro Megumi were left outside the apartment. Both of them had a quiet personality, and the atmosphere was a little quiet for a while, until the tent covering the surrounding area changed again. Mr. Lin Feng, the scope of the account seems to have expanded. Fushiguro Megumi looked solemnly at the overhead tent. Where there are curses, there are tents. The tents are arranged by cursed spirit, which means that the enclosure is a domain. The tent is the territory of cursed spirit, and anyone who trespasses will die. At the same time, as the shelter of cursed spirit, the strength of cursed spirit will also increase greatly when in the tent. Lin Feng glanced at the tent that was spreading in the sky above his head. The coverage area of the tent was wider and wider towards the surrounding area, and the berserk spell power diffused, making the people in the tent feel restless. High-level tents can affect people's mind to a certain extent, even Jujutsu masters are no exception. Fushiguro Megumi panicked immediately. Mr. Lin Feng, it is impossible to be a level 2 cursed spirit who can spread the tent to such an extent. Itadori and Nagasaki are in danger. Let's rescue them. Wait. Lin Feng spit out a word lightly, with an expressionless expression. Wait, Fushiguro Megumi urgently said. Teacher Lin Feng, they will die if this continues. Lin Feng said. I said wait. But, Fuhei, you have been disturbed by the expansion of the account, stick to your heart and don't be too affected. Lin Feng clicked Fushiguro Megumi. You are right, but then we need to divide the work. I will bring Itadori and Nagasaki out of it. You are responsible for assisting the police officers of the Metropolitan Police Department to evacuate the surrounding people and retreat to the outside of the tent. Yes, Teacher Lin Feng, then you. Don't worry, I have my own arrangements. After sending Fushiguro Megumi away, Lin Feng just walked into the apartment building in front of him. In the original plot of Jujutsu, the cursed spirit in the apartment is just a miscellaneous cursed spirit, which is really used by Itadori Yuji and Kugasaki Nobara to practice. And now, under the butterfly effect, the cursed spirit in the apartment building seems to have surpassed the second level, and its mana power residuals scattered in every corner of the apartment building has a first level atmosphere. Apartment building interior. Itadori Yuji and Kugasaki Nobara were hammered to death. The difference in combat power between the enemy and us is too great. The former is a half-baked guy who is not even a Jujutsu master, and the latter is a novice Jujutsu master. This combination is still too reluctant. Level 1 cursed spirit is like playing cat and mouse game again. Instead of directly killing 2 little mice, it wants to kill them slowly. Why don't you beg for mercy? Strange, you should know that it is impossible to win me with your 2 crappy spells, let alone you can't win, you can't even escape from my territory. So how can you not beg for mercy? Although I won't let you live. Chi-Chi, whoa. Kugasaki Nobara spit out a mouthful of blood foam, pouring his own mantra power into the nail and hammer in his hand. Zouling mantra resonance. Ding! The hammer knocked out the nails, and the mana-infused nails burst out at Cursed Spirit. So how many times do you have to try a nail that doesn't hurt? Level 1 Cursed Spirit is impatient, reaching for the nail. Itadori, it's now. Kugasaki Nobara gave a loud shout. I saw an afterimage grazing towards the first level Cursed Spirit. Itadori Yuji held the cursed tool and slaughtered the demon and severely chopped off one of Cursed Spirit's hands. Nails slammed into the very heart of Cursed Spirit. When the nail was driven into Cursed Spirit's body, the resonance directly oscillated to the depths of the soul. Well, level 1 Cursed Spirit staggered, and spurted out a mouthful of dirty blood residuals. Soul attack is effective. Successful. However, before Itadori Yuji and Kugasaki Nobara were happy, level 1 Cursed Spirit had already recovered. Unfortunately, such an attack cannot kill me. Unfortunately, you have no chance. Itadori Yuji and Kugasaki Nobara had a very clear idea. First, they used the Zouling spell to grab people first, and then caught him by surprise and cut off a hand to break the defense. Finally, the Zouling nail full of magic power was nailed into Cursed Spirit's body, causing soul trauma. If it was an ordinary Cursed Spirit, with such a perfect combination of punches, he would have died long ago and couldn't die anymore. Unfortunately, what they were facing was a level 1 Cursed Spirit. Fundamentally, they are far stronger than their opponents. This kind of poor strength cannot be compensated by tactics. Itadori Yuji gritted his teeth, and with a sudden heart, he closed his eyes and was about to turn on the tuba. Just when he surrendered control of the body, the imaginary Ryomen Sukuna's control of the body was not discovered. At this moment, Itadori Yuji inside the body. In an endless pool of blood, Ryomen Sukuna sat high on the mountain of bones piled up with skeletons, condescending, and looked at Itadori Yuji playfully. Oh, you little brat took the initiative to give up control of your body, are you asking me to change this situation? Just why do you think that my control of the body will open up the situation for you? I'll just kill that woman without hesitation. Then catch up with Cursed Spirit over there. Ryomen Sukuna has never been a good man or woman. He was the king of curses in the heyday of Jujutsu thousands of years ago. He doesn't care about Cursed Spirit, Jujutsu Master, or human beings. Thousands of years later, even Ryomen Sukuna, who has just woken up from the seal, whose strength is not at its peak, and who is still trapped in the container, does not care as he has for thousands of years. I thought it was interesting, Itadori Yuji, I'm not going to take over control of the body, and I'm not going to help you with this situation, I'm going to watch that woman die. After Ryomen Sukuna finished speaking, he couldn't help laughing excitedly. Frustrated by Ryomen Sukuna's hopes of changing the situation, Itadori Yuji opened his eyes to see Kugasaki Nobara being slapped hard into the wall by Cursed Spirit. Nagizaki-san. Itadori Yuji rushed forward desperately following Tsuzuomo. Boom. Cursed Spirit waved his hand, and a spell sent Itadori Yuji flying. The game is over, let's start absorbing this woman first. Compared with ordinary humans, Cursed Spirit prefers to devour Jujutsu masters. In addition to satisfying the bloodthirsty appetite, it can also fill in some mana deficiencies. Boom. Just when Cursed Spirit was about to devour Kugasaki Nobara, a surge of water rushed through all the floors without warning, and arrived at the floor where Cursed Spirit was located. The water flowed from bottom to top, sweeping a large amount of floors and concrete, forming a tumbling water wave, and a slender figure stood on the top of the wave. Lin Feng took a step forward, and the water flow formed steps under his feet. Lin Feng walked down step by step, flicking his fingers. A scorching heat suddenly rose in the air, and a firebird appeared out of nowhere, screaming and rushing towards the first-level Cursed Spirit, enveloping its body. The water completely covered the entire floor, and a bubble emerged from under the water. It was Itadori Yuji and Kugasaki Nobara. Ah! Level 1 Cursed Spirit was scorched by the flames until his body was dripping with pus, screaming in pain. It has fought against many Jujutsu masters. Its technique is water flow, and wood style is fire face, and it has seen them all. The only thing I haven't seen is Lin Feng. Stepping on the soaring water and soaring upwards, and then a flaming bird screeched, defeating all his offensives. Domain expansion. Cursed Spirit realized that the Jujutsu master in front of him was not simple, and he didn't dare to overdo it, so he immediately carried out domain expansion. The moment cursed spirit closed his hands, a spell like black ink swept out instantly, filling the entire floor, and under the cover of the spell, the entire floor hung upside down. Upside down apartment building. A domain is a natural domain built with mana power. It is a decision that consumes mana power extremely. During the battle, once one party develops a domain, the winner must be determined. The increase brought about by such a risky approach is naturally obvious. Not only is the state improved under environmental elements, but also within the domain, all the spell attacks of the domain expansionist are absolutely hit. Everything in the domain hangs upside down. In Lin Feng's vision, cursed spirit and himself are subversive. Lin Feng looked down at the ceiling under his feet, and the mantra was like small hands grabbing his legs, trying to trap them in place. Is this your domain? Lin Feng said lightly. What? Cursed spirit was startled, unable to believe it, and said, General Jujutsu masters will be hung upside down when they enter my domain, and their own magic power will be absorbed by the imprisonment. Why are you not affected? You guess. Lin Feng put his hands in his pockets, raised his foot and stomped heavily, and the ceiling and the magical little hands that grabbed his legs were directly shaken away. In the next moment, Lin Feng was infinitely close to cursed spirit. The third gate, the life gate, open. As Lin Feng's voice fell, the mantra power and chi and blood in his body surged out, and a strange heat radiated from his body. Boom! Lin Feng punched out, hitting cursed spirit head on. Like an exploding watermelon, cursed spirit's head was blown apart, blood and residuals scattered all over the sky. Cursed spirit was already dead and couldn't die anymore. Are you saved? Kugasaki Nobara looked at the hazy figure of Lin Feng in front of him, and fell to the ground. Lin Feng reached out to grab it, carried Kugasaki Nobara on his shoulders, and walked out. Teacher Lin Feng, I was injured too. Itadori Yuji said weakly. Lin Feng didn't look back. With your physique, it's not a problem to go out. Outside the apartment building. As the cursed spirit inside was pulled out, the curses and curtains around it also slowly faded away. Clear the clouds and see the moon. Teacher Lin Feng, Itadori. Fushiguro Megumi watched Lin Feng lead the two out of the apartment building, pulled off the yellow warning line, and walked up quickly. Ms. Lin Feng, Nagasaki-san, she. Serious, but not life-threatening. At this time, Aijichi got out of the high-end special car and came to him. Mr. Lin Feng, it's a blessing. Fortunately, you are here, so the loss is minimized. I really can't think of why there is a first-level cursed spirit in an ordinary assessment. Mr. Aijichi, Lin Feng said, let's go back to the high school for details. There are still wounded. I'll take everyone back here. The group returns to Jujutsu High School deep in the mountains. Itadori Yuji and Kugasaki Nobara were sent to Yeri Shoko for treatment, and Lin Feng wrote an eviction report and returned to his residence. Simply took a shower. Lin Feng's phone is unlocked, but there are no messages or calls. No word came back from Gojo Satoru. Shayuji has made an early appearance, so Brainstorm shouldn't have started the Shibuya incident early. Lin Feng said something to himself, and immediately denied his assumption. Nowadays, Shayuji is not the real Shayuji, but a shell inhabited by brains. The most commendable thing about Naohua is not his ability, but his layout. Create a game big enough to get the entire Jujutsu world in, and start the game. In one fell swoop, Cursed Spirit opened the prelude to a new round of counterattack against the Jujutsu world, and with every step of the way, the traps were exhausted, and Gojo Satoru was sealed in Shibuya with the special grade Cursed Object Prison Gate. This series of operations is enough to prove the brilliance of Brain Flower. But to achieve this situation, it takes a certain amount of time and cost. Judging from the present, the time is not yet. Ding dong. The phone screen suddenly lit up, and a text message came into view. Lin Feng glanced at it, thinking it would be a message from Gojo Satoru, but unexpectedly it was him. Jujutsu High School Principal's office. Squeak. Lin Feng pushed the door and walked in. There were no electric lights in the huge hall, but candlesticks dotted with them. The candlesticks exuded lingering light, and the visibility was touching. Yae Masamiki sat on the futon, still pricking the curse with a needle in his hand. Lin Feng, you are still as rude as usual, and you won't even knock when you come in. I remember that it was the teacher who found me. Lin Feng said leisurely, By the way, the teacher really doesn't plan to use electric lights. Although candlelight has artistic conception, it is not good for the eyes. Too much talk. Yae Masamiki threw the cursed skeleton in her hand towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng caught the cursed skeleton and looked at it a few times. The cursed skeleton made by the teacher is as powerful as ever, and as ugly as ever. Hearing the ugliness once, the mantra quit immediately. He waved his fist and attacked Lin Feng's face. Lin Feng took all the attacks of the cursed skeleton lightly. After all, he was not Itadori Yuji, and there was no possibility of being violently beaten by the cursed skeleton. Yae Masamiki stood up and said slowly, I came to you this time to confirm something with you. How long do you want to be ordinary? Lin Feng, your potential and skills are not inferior to those two people at all. I believe that if you think about it, the well-known Jujutsu master in the Jujutsu world definitely has a place for you. As Lin Feng's teacher, Yae Masamiki knows Lin Feng's potential all too well. After all, Yae Masamiki was a well-known figure no matter when he was a Jujutsu teacher or when he was a teacher. How could his students be ordinary? But it is this kind of ordinary that Lin Feng pursues. Oil and salt are not allowed, and Yae Masamiki gets very angry every time he mentions it. Teacher, has Master Jujutsu already been introverted to this extent? Lin Feng said without fear of boiling water, but even if the teacher said so, I am really not interested in the rules of the Jujutsu world. I accept the teaching task of the college. If there is a special removal task, I can also consider it next. As for the impact on higher-level Jujutsu teachers, it is better to enter the eyes of the high level. Oh, Yae Masamiki was silent for a moment. You just said that there are special elimination tasks that can be considered next. As the saying goes, one bite cannot make a fat man. In the past, Lin Feng wanted to have more Buddhist schools. If there were no hard targets, maybe he would only teach newcomers Jujutsu. But now you can actually consider taking the task. This is a good thing. Lin Feng hummed. After all, every time we meet, the teacher will bring up this topic, so why don't you just consider taking the task? The corner of Yae Masamiki's mouth twitched. Why did this sound so awkward? As if this guy couldn't stand his nagging all the time, he had no choice but to do it. Teacher, then you also promise me one thing. Lin Feng said. Oh, say it. In addition to being the principal of Jujutsu College, the teacher is also our teacher and a Jujutsu teacher. Please keep this in mind and don't be too paranoid. The Shibuya incident on October 1st, although the final outcome was that cursed spirit, which was dominated by brains, was repelled, but in the macro situation, it was a disastrous defeat for the Jujutsu world, and the brains directly won the paralysis. First, the Shibuya incident was set off, and ordinary people were used as bait to seal the most powerful Gojo Satoru with a super cursed object, and then various Jujutsu divisions also paid a heavy price in casualties. The most outrageous thing is the follow-up of the incident. After the Shibuya incident, those old antiques of the big three sorcerer families in the Jujutsu world were directly inappropriate, and directly designated the sealed Gojo Satoru as the Jujutsu division who rebelled into cursed spirit, and deprived the Jujutsu division of everything. The execution of Itadori Yuji was then carried out immediately. Even classifying Yae Masamiki as a collaborator of Gojo Satoru and sentenced to death. In the end, because of his obsession with Jujutsu High School, Yae Masamiki proved the truth with his own body, leaving cursed to suffer hatred under Principal Gakuganji. For Lin Feng, this is absolutely impossible to accept. Master Jujutsu can be defeated by cursed spirit and live standing, but he must never be defeated by corrupt power and die kneeling. Yae Masamiki's ending, he doesn't accept it. Well, I see. Yae Masamiki didn't know at this time, when everything collapsed, what kind of effect this sentence had. Of course, this is all a later story. After coming out of the principal's office, Lin Feng walked straight to the dormitory. Teacher Lin Feng. When Lin Feng came to the corridor of the dormitory, he happened to bump into Fushiguro Megumi standing at the door. Fukuro, how are Itadori and Kajizaki-san doing? Fushiguro Megumi said. Kajizaki-san's injury was more serious, but after Miss Shoko's treatment, she has regained consciousness. That's good. Lin Feng pushed open the door. In the room, Itadori Yuji was already able to get out of bed. At this time, he was about to peel an apple for Kugasaki Nobara, who didn't want anything. Sister is not so delicate, you should eat by yourself. Kijizaki-san, you're welcome, we've been friends through life and death. You don't need to peel apples, hey. The two pushed, and when they heard the door open, they turned their heads together. Teacher Lin Feng. Lin Feng walked up to Itadori Yuji and held out his hand. Itadori, let me peel the apple. Lin Feng moved a chair and sat by the bed, took a fruit knife and peeled the fruit by himself, and said, how are you two feeling? Mr. Lin Feng, I'm completely fine. Itadori Yuji patted his chest, but forgot to hold back his strength, gritting his teeth in pain. Kugasaki Nobara also said, I'm not the delicate type, this kind of injury will be fine after a few days. That's good. Lin Feng peeled the apple to the end, peeled off all the peel of the apple, put a circle of peel in the palm of Itadori Yuji, and put the pulp in the palm of Kugasaki Nobara. Eat it, and tell you something by the way. Kugasaki Nobara held the fruit pulp without saying anything, and began to eat in small bites, while Itadori Yuji said with a bitter face, Mr. Lin Feng, what you gave me is the peel, so it's too different to treat it. The peel also has nutrients and vitamins. Besides, there are so many apples, you can wash one yourself. Lin Feng said that Itadori Yuji's protest was invalid, and changed the subject. Teacher Gojo Satoru won't be back in a short time, so I will take over the teaching tasks of the first grade. From now on, I will take full responsibility for you, also because you are too weak. I will start one-on-one detailed teaching, and the time will be set when Itadori-san and Nagasaki-san are recovering from their injuries. In the original plot of Jujutsu, Gojo Satoru just joined the army, and the first grade received a task. The task of removing the children's palace. I thought it was a test for the first grade, but I didn't expect that there would be a special cursed spirit in it, Curse Fetus Station. In that battle, the first grade suffered heavy losses. Fushiguro Megumi and Kugasaki Nobara were injured, and Itadori Yuji died directly. In addition to the power of the special grade cursed spirit behind this, there are also some tricky details. The task was assigned by the high level, and the first grade was specially asked to perform it. The information returned by the investigation window has been deleted. The real purpose behind it is that the high-level executives don't want to see Ryomen Sukuna's container alive and kicking. And now, Itadori Yuji was hired by Lin Feng himself. Of course, it is impossible for him to watch those old antiques in the Jujutsu world's high level too much, sit firmly on the Daiyutai, and control the ups and downs of the Jujutsu world alone. Daydreaming is recommended here. 3 days passed. Kugasaki Nobara can get out of bed, her body has recovered to 60 to 70%, and she can already do some simple exercises. Lin Feng gathered the three of them together, and then announced the training plan. First is Itadori Yuji, since you become a monk halfway, you can't even count as a half-baked person, so you need to learn from the basics step by step. Familiarize yourself with the generation and use of spell power first, and I will take you to a place later. Then Fuguro and Nagasaki-san, the problems you two have are actually the same. Lin Feng pointedly said, both of you rely too much on your own spells. Although there is nothing wrong with Master Jujutsu relying on spells to fight, you must learn to be flexible. 10 shadow spells and Zouling spells, both of them use long-range attacks, so your melee ability is very weak. Once the spells can't defeat Cursed Spirit and you get melee, then it will be your crisis. Quote. So you guys have to practice your melee ability and the use of the cursed tool in a surprise attack. Kugasaki Nobara asked. Teacher Lin Feng, you have to teach Itadori, me and Fuhei separately, can you do it alone? It doesn't need to be so troublesome. Lin Feng smiled. After all, my students are not limited to your first grade, and the second grade is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. There are many suitable people. Fushiguro Megumi Mingwu. Ms. Lin Feng is looking for Maki Senpai and Panda Senpai. Although Fushiguro Megumi's surname is Fuhei, he has the blood of the Zenin family, one of the big three sorcerer families in the Jujutsu world, and naturally has a certain understanding of Zenin Maki. Maki Senpai and Panda Senpai, who are they? Just when Fushiguro Megumi wanted to popularize science, Lin Feng waved his hand. Fuhei, let's keep some sense of expectation. After formulating the training plan for the three of them, Lin Feng contacted the panda who was returning to the high school after completing the mission, and briefly explained the matters. The three Jujutsu teachers in the second grade, Zenin Maki, Panda, and Inamaki Toge, are relatively more stable than Han Panda. Mr. Lin Feng, do I need to leave Jujutsu High School for my training? Lin Feng took Itadori Yuji away from Jujutsu High School and went to the city in the car. Itadori Yuji asked curiously. Your curiosity can be put on the study of Jujutsu. Itadori Yuji pursed his lips and fell silent. Lin Feng looked at the fleeting scenery outside the window and the afterimages of houses getting closer and closer to Tokyo. Itadori Yuji's introduction to the 8 classics of children is after encountering a special grade cursed spirit, the cursed womb and death. Made a deal with Ryomen Sukuna to be resurrected. The matter was kept secret by Gojo Satoru, and he was trained in private. But now, Lin Feng has brought this link forward. Everyone knows that the Jujutsu High School is not peaceful, and there are many eyes in the dark watching the container of Ryomen Sukuna, ready to move at any time. That being the case, it is better to take people out of the scope of Jujutsu High School, and then give the old guys a big surprise. By the way, Lin Feng also needs to get some things done in Tokyo. A secluded basement in Tokyo. Lin Feng took Itadori Yuji to the basement. The basement space is not small, but it is extremely well prepared, stuffed full of books and videotapes, and a lot of daily necessities. In the middle of the living room there are coffee table, sofa, TV. Mr. Lin Feng, aren't we going to train? Itadori Yuji couldn't understand. Who told you that this place is not for training? Look here. Lin Feng pointed to the 2 cans of juice next to him and said, I will only explain and demonstrate spells and spells once, so keep your eyes open to see clearly. Teacher Lin Feng, I'm ready. Lin Feng made a shooting motion with one hand, and the spell and spell were activated at the same time. Bang bang twice. 1 can of juice was knocked down, and the side that received the force was sunken, while the other can stood upright, but the whole can was severely twisted, and the juice inside was squeezed out. The sunken juice cans were made purely with mana, and the twisted juice cans were twisted like this with Jujutsu. Simply put, the mantra is like electricity, and the mantra is like household appliances. Electricity and household appliances complement each other to facilitate life. The same is true for Master Jujutsu. Mantras and spells complement each other to unplug curse and defeat cursed spirit. Lin Feng taught by precepts and deeds, and what he said was easy to understand. As long as Itadori Yuji was not an idiot, he could understand it. Itadori Yuji nodded his head and stared at the stars and said, Teacher Lin Feng, please teach me spell control and spells to your heart's content. I can't wait. Spiral pills, swastikas. The 2nd-year boy had a lot of fun. After learning the basics of mantras and techniques, Itadori Yuji began to fantasize about rolling balls with his left hand and holding Zanpakuto with his right. It's a pity that the ideal is full and the reality is very skinny. Lin Feng said lightly, I'm just telling you some basic knowledge, the basic operation logic of mantras and spells, that's all. After all, you can't use Jujutsu. As soon as he heard that Jujutsu could not be used, Itadori Yuji was shocked immediately, and the painting style changed suddenly, losing its original color. Let's not mention the simple shikigami and enchantment. The art is innate by Master Jujutsu. It was carved into the body early. Master Jujutsu's strength is 80% of his talent. And you have 0. Itadori Yuji was deeply shocked after hearing the news, and his whole body was not well. Then I don't have a chance to sing. Lin Feng said slowly, not necessarily. What I told you is the way of a normal Jujutsu teacher, but you are a different kind, so naturally you can't be generalized with an ordinary Jujutsu teacher. Your physical fitness is far superior to that of ordinary people, and you can do melee combat well. As long as you exercise your body well, practice fighting skills, and use some basic spell power, you'll be fine. Itadori Yuji came back to life immediately, and said in high spirits, Teacher Lin Feng, then you can teach me quickly, I can endure hardship. Lin Feng turned his right hand behind his back, and stretched out his left hand as he did on the school rooftop. Itadori, now use all your strength to punch me. Yes. Itadori Yuji instantly entered the fighting state, held his breath, focused his attention, and subconsciously gathered the strength of his body to the right, and then a fist shadow roared out, directly hitting Lin Feng's palm. Fist and palm collide. Itadori Yuji's expression changed. Itadori, what do you feel? I felt my fist being blocked by something, like hitting the cotton first, and then my power was taken away. Itadori Yuji recalled. Lin Feng nodded slightly, and had to say that Itadori Yuji's talent in combat awareness was remarkable. It's mantra. What your fist touched just now is my mantra. Lin Feng said, the mantra comes from negative emotions and emotions. Anger, sadness, disappointment, etc., as long as they are negative emotions, they can produce more or less magic power. What you need to do is to combine spell power with fighting skills. Otherwise, no matter how strong your fighting skills are, if you meet other jujutsu masters, they will be able to reduce your fighting skills with spell power. And vice versa, once you master the combination of spell use and fighting skills, then your strength will rise. Like the previous cursed spirit, you can also solve it. A wave of chicken blood was given to Itadori Yuji, and Itadori Yuji was immediately ignited. Your task now is to learn to perceive mana from negative emotions. There are all types of films on the wall, covering all emotions. Train by watching movies. Eat and drink are available here. I will come here from time to check the results. After coming out of the basement, Lin Feng didn't go back to Jujutsu High School directly, but came to an old movie theater. The facade of the movie theater is not big, and the furnishings inside are also very old. Even the conductor at the ticket window is a bit rough. The movie watching experience is naturally not expensive, but the advantage is that the price is not expensive. Hi, a movie ticket for Earthworm 3. 1,800 yuan. After Lin Feng paid, he took the movie ticket and walked into the screening hall. Yoshino Junpei did not go home after school, but came to an old-fashioned movie theater not far from the school. For him, the time after school every day is the time to escape from the prison of the school. He can breathe as a normal person without being bullied, beaten, scolded, or bullied. As for why not go home, the reason is also very simple. Being bullied by the gangsters at school all the time, the wounds on my body are always new wounds covering the old wounds, nothing will heal. In order not to worry my mother, I had to cover the wound, and when asked about school life, I said that I was very happy against my will. If Achino's home and school are on the same line, Yoshino Junpei feels that he may be broken. So he needs a vent. The catharsis is watching movies. Just when the blockbuster, Earthworm 3 inches that has been warming up is released, it is also very good to watch. Hi, a movie ticket for Earthworm 3. Yoshino Junpei came to the ticket window and took out the change he had prepared. 1,800 yen. The conductor said without looking up. Yoshino Junpei handed over the crumpled banknotes, and the conductor took a look and frowned. Boy, don't use such crumpled banknotes next time. I'm sorry. Yoshino Junpei hurriedly bowed and apologized. The pain in his heart was beyond words. In the school cage, most of the methods of bullying were staged on him in turn, such as handing in the protection fee is not worth mentioning. This crumpled 1,800 yen is still collected from the protection fee, digging and searching. Forget it, this is the last time. The conductor recognized Yoshino Junpei. The business of the old-fashioned movie theater was not going anywhere. He came here many times by himself, so he was familiar with it. This little guy would go to the movies from time to time, so it was convenient. Thank you, Yoshino Junpei thanked, and walked into the screening hall with the movie ticket. In the screening hall, there were very few audiences. Yoshino Junpei found a suitable place to watch the movie and sat down. At this time, the lights in the screening hall dimmed and the movie started. Earthworm Man 3 is obviously an R-rated film with many scales. Whether it is the scenes of doctors doing experiments, or the Earthworm Man transformed into an earthworm by surgical experiments, it has earned enough attention. When some timid people see high-energy lenses, they will deliberately turn their heads away. Yoshino Junpei watched with relish. He didn't miss any shots, and he didn't feel afraid of the bloody shots that were so real. On the contrary, he was a little envious. If I can become an earthworm in the movie, I can instantly kill those garbage people who bully me, right? Yoshino Junpei thought about a problem more than once. If there was a button that would kill everyone if pressed, would he press it? His answer is no. But if he pressed the button that would kill all those who bullied him, he would press it without hesitation, and would press it twice more. As the movie came to the final chapter, when the subtitles were on, people in the screening hall laughed one after another. Yoshino Junpei looked at the time and got up to leave. After watching a movie, I have more or less vented some emotions, and I can go home calmly. Yoshino Junpei couldn't help speeding up his pace, and chose to take a shortcut back home by taking the alleyway. It's just that his luck is very bad. At the corner of the alleyway, he ran into a group of unscrupulous teenagers, who were the same people who had been bullying him from the same school. Oh, isn't this the perverted Junpei? What a coincidence. Tisk. It smells like maggots and dogs. In this direction, you must go to that kind of place, right? The nearby video rental store, if there is a way, even the owner of R18 will rent it. It's disgusting, not counting the bear who is obscenely sneaking at the wing and renting the R18. Yoshino Junpei paled. I didn't go to that kind of place. Are you shouting fart? The delinquent boy threw away the cigarette butt. Okay, the scar is a pain. Then I will loosen your bone again. Just when the delinquent boys surrounded him and were about to fix Yoshino Junpei, there was a sound of footsteps coming in from the alley. The delinquent boy winked, and the younger brother came out from the corner and went straight to meet him. Hey, uncle, you are not allowed to walk on this road, get out of here. The unscrupulous boy jokingly drove away the person in front of him, with a switchblade in his hand. There is one thing to say, among the bad gangs on the streets, the underage gangs are not the most able to fight, nor are they the most ruthless, but they are the most difficult to deal with, because they have the aura of minors, and any mistakes will be taken high, get up and put it down gently. So that they have nothing to fear. Lin Feng glanced at the delinquent boy calmly, and kept walking, about to walk past him. How dare you look down on me? The delinquent boy immediately stabbed Lin Feng with a switchblade. Boom! Lin Feng turned around and kicked the bad boy in the face, and the bad boy was disfigured and passed out with just one blow. This was just the beginning. Lin Feng kicked the bad boy away, and stuffed him into the trash can next to him like garbage. The other unscrupulous teenagers who heard the movement came out from the corner, and before they could figure out the situation, they were slapped by Lin Feng several times and passed out. After a while, the gang of unscrupulous teenagers were all piled up next to the garbage. Yoshino Junpei looked at all this and the man in front of him dumbfounded, his throat rolled. Can I do it too? Lin Feng wiped his hands with a tissue. What can I do? Can I be as strong as you? I can repair all these debris. Lin Feng threw the ball of paper into the trash can. Trash should stay in the trash can. You can try to improve your eyesight, don't be obsessed with the trash. Even a weak young fish has to look to the sea, doesn't it? Weak juveniles should also turn their hearts to the sea. Yoshino Junpei savored these words carefully, and was greatly encouraged deep in his heart. The ocean is boundless, and there are many overlord creatures in the deep sea. They often devour a large number of fish schools every time they eat, but even so, in the waters near the sea level, when the sparkling sunlight falls, the fish schools still wandering in a little bit of light. Weak as a young fish, can also have gorgeous moments. Then, can I also have this kind of moment? Yoshino Junpei raised his head. Lin Feng's figure had disappeared into the alley, leaving only a few delinquent boys in the garbage dump, howling and begging for mercy. Tokyo Prefectural Jujutsu High School. While Itadori Yuji was alone in the basement feeling the diverse emotions, Fushiguro Megumi and Kugasaki Nobara were not idle either. Lin Feng hereby invited the second graders Zenin Maki and Panda to teach them one-on-one. Playground. The scorching sun is like a fire. Fushiguro Megumi was sweating profusely, running laps, panting heavily with every step, as if he had reached his limit faintly. Fuhei, you are too slow, run up. In front of Fushiguro Megumi, Zenin Maki has been maintaining a full state. Under the rhythmic pace, the tall green horse is fluttering in the wind, and the beautiful eyes behind the black-rimmed glasses are staring at every body movement of Fushiguro Megumi. Urged relentlessly, Fuhei, your physical strength is too weak. Zenin Maki stopped, and Fushiguro Megumi also stopped, his hands resting on his knees, unable to straighten his waist. Hoo-hoo. Maki-senpai, we have run no less than 30 laps. Is 30 laps a lot? Zenin Maki asked back. This amount is also the amount of warm-up. Fushiguro Megumi, the playground of Jujutsu College is far from comparable to the one in the school. The playground covers many buildings, and ordinary people can hardly run around it. Not to mention running 30 laps under the scorching sun without being able to use mana now. Iron Man couldn't bear it anymore. Zenin Maki looked at Fushiguro Megumi and shrugged helplessly. Then take a rest for 10 minutes. Panda, rest for 10 minutes. Is it time for a break? In the middle of the playground, the panda was pulling Kugasaki Nobara's legs in circles. After hearing Zenin Maki's voice, he immediately gave it away, and Kugasaki Nobara fell down with his head. I want to sue the panda for bullying me. Kugasaki Nobara said angrily. It's unreasonable at all. I've been beaten since just now. What kind of training is this? It's obviously a sandbag. Kugasaki Nobara turned out the small mirror. It's too rude, my face. Sorry, I should have acted lightly. The panda scratched its head and said embarrassedly. When teacher Lin Feng informed me, he gave me the instruction to play the role of the cursed spirit with strong melee combat ability and start close combat with my juniors and juniors. Hand-to-hand combat, I didn't expect it to be like this. Kugasaki Nobara was indignant. Then why is it always me? Fuhei only needs to run laps. Student Fuhei is no exception, you are just in order. I want to exchange, Kugasaki Nobara said. I don't want to be a sandbag later, I want to run around. It is reasonable for girls to teach girls. It will also be gentler. Gentle, Panda and Inamaki Toge looked at each other. Could it be that the Zenin Maki they knew was fake? Has this woman ever been gentle? Inamaki Toge. Salmon, The one-on-one teaching was going on without any hesitation. For a few days, Lin Feng was commuting between the urban area and Jujutsu High School, keeping abreast of the training progress of the three of them. As expected, the training progress of the three is still going according to the ideal state. Itadori Yuji has read countless films, and has a deep understanding of the principle of negative emotions linked to the magic power. He added some ingredients in the middle, and put a spell skeleton made by Yi Masamiki. For a while, he was painful and happy. Fushiguro Megumi and Kugasaki Nobara, under the devil training of Zenin Maki and Panda, have made great progress in melee combat ability. Although they don't expect to crush Cursed Spirit in melee combat, they will not be stared at by Cursed Spirit. That night, it's 1:30. Lin Feng looked at the ceiling, thinking about it. The God level sign-in system is running. The current cumulative number of check-ins, 7 times. Are you signed in? The current host can choose daily check-in or cumulative check-in. The system had a new reminder, and Lin Feng understood after a quick glance. Daily check-in is to sign in directly to 7 rewards, while cumulative sign-in is to combine the 7 check-in times into one and then sign in. To put it bluntly, it is to draw cards, the former is to eat the guarantee, the latter is to bet on the dog, the bet loses blood 7 times, and the bet is right to go straight to the golden legend. Lin Feng chose the latter without even thinking about it. System, I want to log in cumulatively. Ding. The accumulative sign-in is successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the God level reward, Zanpakuto Divine Spear. The accumulative sign-in is successful. Congratulations to the host for the God level sign-in, Zanpakuto Shengen. The system notification tone fell heavily. Suddenly, a dazzling white light broke through the window, and the air seemed to be torn apart in a flash. Bass. The clear sound of sword chant resounded and spread throughout the room. Immediately, the white light dissipated and turned into a short blade shining with silver light, which was held in Lin Feng's palm. Lin Feng sat up in shock, holding the short silver blade in his hand, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but crazily raised. Gambling dogs have everything you need, and once you get into the soul, it turns out to be a golden legendary reward. Zanpakuto Sharp Spear. In the world of the God of Death, the Zanpakuto used by the Genius Third Squad against Nagaichi Ginmaru is also the fastest and longest Zanpakuto in the entire soul world. Long-range sniping, melee sweeping, invincible posture, is the hero of the sword. Lin Feng was playing with the Zanpakuto Shinchang, and he mastered all the skills about this sword in an instant. Produced by the system, it must be a boutique. The Zanpakuto and Divine Spear obtained by signing in from the system are not exactly the same as the one in the Death God world. For example, the energy system is different. In order to facilitate Lin Feng's use, he unleashed the combat power of a sharp gun. The energy of this knife was directly transformed from spiritual power into mantra power. It can be understood as the mantra version of Zanpakuto. Of course, such a transformation cannot be without restrictions. Due to the transformation of energy, Zanpakuto's initial release state and swastika state cannot be compared with the peak in the world of the God of Death. But even so, with the characteristics of a sharpshooter, Lin Feng's combat power can still be greatly increased. Wonderful. Lin Feng fell asleep contentedly. The next day, at noon, inside a restaurant in an area of Tokyo. Several clerks were whispering at the front desk, and while discussing a lot, they glanced at the corner from time to time. In the corner, a man with long hair and a smiling face, in a monk's robe sat on the seat. He sat for more than an hour without ordering anything except 3 glasses of water. Although there is no such thing as chasing customers when opening a shop and doing business, it is not enough to just sit and occupy a seat just for 3 glasses of water. How can there be no money for shop rent, air conditioning, and employee salaries? Klepsy, I have told you many times, control your emotions, you will make the surroundings very hot when you are excited, and it is easy to make people suspicious. Xia Yuji picked up the cup and took a sip. The sweet lemonade tasted sour. I understand the truth, but I just can't stop being excited. Opposite Xia Yuji, where only his vision can see, there is a crater-shaped cursed spirit sitting impressively. The clepsydra sits in the store, and the surrounding temperature continues to rise. Let's get back to business. Xia Yuji said slowly, that is to say, your boss wants to subvert the current position of humans and curse, is that right? The clepsydra of the crater said, it's still a little different. Human beings are full of lies, and there must be hidden feelings in the emotions and actions that leak out. But we are the real human beings born of negative emotions such as jealousy, resentment, and hatred. Counterfeit goods should just disappear. But you are the ones being wiped out right now. Xia Yuji smiled. Humanity has a population of more than billions, sitting on most of the world's resources, but the things they do are not as glamorous as they appear. What a great irony. Lu Hu's head was steaming like boiling, and he looked at Xia Yuji seriously with one eye. That's why I came to ask you how to defeat Master Jujutsu. The way to defeat Jujutsu Master is actually very simple, you only need to meet 2 conditions. Xia Yuji stretched out 2 fingers. 1. Seal Gojo Satoru, the strongest Jujutsu Master known as the ceiling of the Jujutsu world. 2. Touch Itadori Yuji, the container of Ryomen Sukuna, to pull him into the camp, as long as these 2 points are met. Not to mention overturning the position between Master Jujutsu and Curse, it is not impossible to let Curse control the world even if it returns to the grand occasion thousands of years ago. Real. A circle of hot air rose above Lu Hu's head with a bang. Even though Xia Yuji reminded him not to get too excited, he still couldn't help it. No way, the idea of Curse taking over the world is too attractive. Lu Hu forcibly suppressed the excitement in his heart. The container of Ryomen Sukuna has now been acquired by Jujutsu High School. It takes some preparations to get in touch with him, but I am more curious about Gojo Satoru than this. Xia Yuji saw through Lu Hu's thoughts with just one glance, and reminded him friendly, no, what you think is impossible. Gojo Satoru can never be killed, only sealed. Lu Hu grinned. I know, the prison door of the special grade cursed object is stiff, so you might as well give it to me, I just put it in my collection. Xia Yuji just smiled and said nothing. At this time, the waiter in the restaurant boldly approached. My guest, you need some. Raging. Before the words were finished, sparks suddenly appeared on the waiter's body, and the flames started a prairie fire. In an instant, the body was completely ignited, and the waiter was burned to charcoal without feeling the pain. The sudden, spontaneous combustion of the human body broke the tranquility of the restaurant, and the diners around screamed and ran out of the restaurant. Xia Yuji was a little displeased. I told you to control your emotions and don't cause trouble like this. It's okay. Lu Hu smiled and snapped her fingers. The environment in the restaurant instantly dried, followed by a detonation. Under the detonation, everyone in the entire restaurant was reduced to ashes. The weather is hot, the climate is dry, and the fire safety is not in place. Is it reasonable for the store to catch fire? Before the restaurant was completely burned down, Xia Yuji, Lu Hu and Hua Yu, who didn't say a word, appeared on another street. It doesn't matter. Xia Yuji stroked his forehead. Since you have your own ideas, then try it according to your own ideas. By the way, I told you so much information, you don't mind giving me a sentence, right? Quote. Lu Hu looked understanding. Before Gojo Satoru dies, bring your greetings to him. Xia Yuji shook his head. besides Gojo Satoru, if you meet someone named Lin Feng, please say hi to me too. The days passed. Although the task of removing curse from the juvenile academy was a few days late, it still fell on the head of the first grade as scheduled. The incident occurred outside the juvenile court. Aijichi drove the Jujutsu special car and brought the first-year trio to the scene. After getting off the car, the three of them looked at the scene in front of them, and their expressions became serious. The sky was covered with dark clouds, as if a rainstorm was about to come, but everyone present knew that this was not the tranquility before the rainstorm at all. A huge curse embryo lay across the gray sky, and the aura emanating from the curse embryo turned the sky above the youth courtyard into this appearance. Aijichi raised his eyes and introduced the situation. About 3 hours ago, we found this curse embryo above the youth court through our window. Currently, the evacuation work has been completed, and the nearby residents have all evacuated to a safe area, and the Jujutsu division can operate. But before starting the homework, I want to remind you that this incident is not a trivial matter, and you must be prepared for it, according to the analysis of the investigators of Jujutsu High School. Currently, the curse embryo and the 5 trapped persons are stranded in the juvenile courtyard. If the curse embryo starts to devour, it is very likely that it will become a super cursed spirit. So your task this time is to confirm whether the trapped person is alive, not to save the trapped person. Remember, when encountering a super cursed spirit, there are only 2 options, die or run. Aijichi, who has always been modest, said with a cold expression, it can be seen that the mission is dangerous and uncertain. Fushiguro Megumi and Kugasaki Nobara frowned. Special grade. Cursed spirit. Special grade cursed spirit. Speaking of which, I don't have much idea about the classification of cursed spirit. Itadori Yuji said nervously. Then use it in a way that idiots can understand. Aijichi said. Level 4 cursed spirit baseball bats can handle it, level 3 cursed spirit pistols can barely, a large number of tanks are dispatched, if it is a super class, the baptism of cluster missiles will not be effective. Itadori Yuji gasped, looking like he was really going to take it seriously. Kugasaki Nobara put his hands on his hips, looked at the cursed fetus in the air, and said unhappily, it's really annoying, it's all this ugly thing that disrupted our vacation plan, we must end early later and then go to shop. For Kugasaki Nobara, getting rid of curse is just a job she has to face as a jujutsu teacher. If there is a choice, she would rather be a salted fish, dress up beautifully, and go shopping, isn't it good? Fighting spirit was ignited in Itadori Yuji's pupils, and he was gearing up and said, let's rescue the trapped people inside. Fushiguro Megumi stroked his forehead, feeling very tired. Mr. Aijichi had just finished speaking when the two fell ill. Mr. Gojo Satoru and Mr. Lin Feng are both busy with work, and under the premise that there is no guardian, the veteran Fushiguro Megumi naturally has to consider all aspects of the situation. Itadori, Nagasaki, the cursed spirit in it has the possibility of becoming a special class, so we must cheer up. Fushiguro Megumi reminded. Student Fuhei is right, everyone must be cautious. Aijichi said. Everyone check your own situation, if you are ready, we will let go of the debt. After all, removing curse is not something that can be done openly and honestly in front of the world, so every time curse is removed, if the target cursed spirit does not set up a tent, then the high-level personnel will cast a curse enchantment. In order to protect the safety of ordinary people to the greatest extent. The three said they were ready. Aijichi chanted the spirit of enchantment. The pure black tent enveloped the entire youth courtyard like a curtain. After the payment is completed, the first-year trio entered the juvenile academy. When I opened the door and walked into the first floor, I didn't find anything abnormal, even the mana power residuals was very thin. The trio walked upstairs slowly. Fushiguro Megumi summoned the jade dog, and the jade dog ran ahead to explore the way. Itadori Yuji was holding the Tuzumo in his hand, and Kugasaki Nobara was also holding the mace. The first grade is ready for battle. Wrong. Just when the trio went up to the third floor, Fushiguro Megumi, the most experienced in battle, has a sudden convulsion. Because, the moment they stepped here, there was a strong sense of palpitation. Looking back, the corridor leading to the third floor behind him had disappeared and was replaced by a horizontal wall. When Fushiguro Megumi's scalp exploded, his whole body went numb. No wonder on the way from the first floor to the third floor, there is no excessive mantra residuals at all, but the mana residuals are not too heavy, but they are everywhere. After Fushiguro Megumi felt it for a while, his heart was half cold, and cold sweat flowed down his forehead. Itadori, Nagasaki, we have no way out, the cursed spirit inside has opened the realm of birth. Heard the words, Itadori Yuji and Kugasaki Nobara froze for a moment. They don't yet know the concept of the field of birth. But looking at Fushiguro Megumi, who is usually paralyzed, so nervous, he knows that things are really troublesome. The strength of the enemy seems to have surpassed their imagination. At the same time, on the rooftop of a tall building not far from the youth court, Lin Feng stood facing the wind, overlooking the tent that only Master Jujutsu could see. The reason why he didn't accompany the trio in as a protector was because of two considerations. One is due to the complexity of the students. If Lin Feng can handle everything and cursed spirit, then it is meaningless to be a teacher. The chicks will always fly high one day, so let them go properly. The second is to confirm one thing, to determine whether the old antiques at the top are really daring, but judging from the current situation, the old antiques are really daring. Obviously the second grade is in the high school, but the appointed one is still a first-year novice. The pertinence of it is self-evident. Lin Feng's face became cold and serious. It's really a jujutsu world that is extremely garbage, it seems that subversion and change are necessary. Inside the juvenile home, the trio came to the third floor to investigate and found 3 corpses by the wall. From the clothes on the corpses, it could be identified that they were 3 of the 5 hostages. Itadori Yuji bowed his head and said nothing, thinking that there was still a woman outside crying to ask Master Jujutsu to find her son. He felt uncomfortable. Just when he was about to propose to take the body out, a circle of black ripples appeared at Kugasaki Nobara's feet. Hey, you, I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.